I'd like to call to order the Doylestown Borough Council meeting for June 16th. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on our agenda tonight is we don't have any special presentations, so we'll move on to the approval of minutes from our May 19th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The mayor's not here tonight. She is ailing a little bit, and move on. Public safety, Mr. Brown, you're covering,
No, it's mine.
It is this committee.
it is your committee, I'm sorry. Thinking Public Works, never mind.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item of business is consideration of ordinance 2025-6, creating a restricted parking zone on East Ashland Street near Our Lady of Mount Carmel School. Attached, please find ordinance number 2025-6, which creates a restricted parking zone on East Ashland Street near Our Lady of Mount Carmel School between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, as recommended by the Central Bucks Regional Police Department. Council authorized the advertisement of this ordinance at their meeting on May 19, 2025, and the ordinance has since been properly advertised. The Public Safety Committee recommends that Council adopt ordinance number 2025-6. If Council wishes to follow the recommendation, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by, was it
Amy.
Amy, yeah. And any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The other item we have, Mr. President, is that the Emergency Preparedness and Communications Board met for the first time on June 12th. They got right to work and chose Josh Brown as their chair and Beth Lander as the vice chair. The other members are Amy Kremser, Mary Ford, Philip Masters, James Babinetz, and Pamela Lalande. They will meet again on June 30th, 2025 at 7 p.m. to continue to plan their path and then meet regularly on the fourth Monday of the month at 7 p.m. This is an engaged and dedicated group. All have either preparedness or response experience. We have great residents in Doylestown Borough with a myriad of specialties ready to volunteer to help, and this group is a testament to that. This is the first new volunteer board since the establishment of the Human Relations Commission. The goal of the board is to educate Doylestown Borough to be ready for emergencies, communicate with them better, and lend a hand when needed. And it's very exciting that we've gotten this going. And that's what we have. Thank you.
Just one last thing before we just ask council to take note that the fire company report this month, they've sent it in a new format that covers all the municipalities that they serve. So we thought we can get a report that just covers Doylestown Borough, but we thought you'd want to see, at least for a time, kind of the length and breadth of what Doylestown Fire Company is doing out there and what they're doing in the borough in comparison to the other communities they serve. So just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. Public Works Administration, I believe they did not have a meeting.
We did not meet.
And in the package, there's the Public Works monthly report. So we'll move on from there. Community and Government Affairs, Mr. Bell isn't here, but I believe.
I am. I have a report for you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, attached, please find the above referenced resolution urging the Commonwealth to establish permanent, dedicated, sustainable funding to SEPTA sufficient to provide safe, frequent, and reliable service to its network. SEPTA is projecting a $213 million budget deficit in the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, and as a consequence is proposing a 45% service reduction and 21% rate hike. With state budget discussions underway, the Community and Governmental Affairs Committee discussed the importance of public transportation to the borough and the potentially devastating consequences of the service cuts and rate hikes. As a result, the committee is recommending the adoption of resolution number 2025-9. If council wishes to follow the recommendation of the committee, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Second. We had a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all for my report.
Thank you. Zoning and planning, Ms. Jarrett.
We have kind of a special hearing for the petition to vacate a portion of McFarland Lane in consideration of ordinance 2025-7, vacating a portion of McFarland Lane. Attached, please find the above reference and draft ordinance vacating McFarland Lane along with its recent CB West building addition proposal. The school district petitioned the borough to vacate McFarland Lane. The borough code requires that a hearing be held to consider the petition prior to adopting the ordinance. The hearing will be conducted by the borough solicitor, and pending the outcome of the hearing, council may then adopt ordinance 2025-7. So I'm going to have our solicitor, Andrew, take over here and run that for us.
Yeah, just for the record, Andrew Griffin here tonight, covering on behalf of Bucky Closser from Curtin and Hefner. As was stated pursuant to the Borough Code, we have to have a formal hearing on a petition to vacate a road. The petition to vacate that's before Borough Council this evening is from the Central Bucks School District. It'll help facilitate 2 building additions on the property. I note that the only abutting properties to McFarland Lane are 3 parcels, 2 of which are owned by the Central Bucks School District, either by itself or as successor in interest to the Doylestown Borough School District Authority, and the other parcel is owned by the borough itself. So after the hearing is conducted and the record is closed, Borough Council may either 1, deny the petition by motion, or 2, vacate the portion of McFarland Lane identified in the plans and legal description prepared by Carroll Engineering. The plans are dated January 24th, 2025, last revised April 29th, and the legal description is dated April 29th. So for the purposes of the hearing, I would mark as the borough exhibits. B1 is a public notice of this hearing. B2 is an affidavit of publication evidencing that the public notice was advertised in the Intelligencer on May 13th and then again on May 20th. Exhibit B3 is a copy of an email from my office providing a copy of the public notice to the attorney for the applicant, the school district, as well as borough staff. Exhibit B4 is a copy of the certificate of posting for both, again, the ordinance and the petition. That's dated May 9th, 2025. Exhibit B5 is a copy of the actual petition to vacate. That petition has affixed to it a legal description, the plans, as well as a copy of the proposed ordinance, and those exhibits are marked A through C, again, affixed to Exhibit B5. I also note, just for the record, that the petition provides that the school district releases the Doylestown Borough from any and all damages related to the vacation, and that's a provision that's contemplated by the Borough Code. It also reserves the right of the borough to regulate and enforce traffic and motor vehicle movement on the vacated portion of McFarland Lane. And then finally, as a part of the land development waiver approval for this project, which was previously before Borough Council on April 21st, 2025, the school district is also providing the borough with an access and utility easement for a portion of the road. So with that, just to begin the hearing, I would ask if there's a representative of the school district present. You come to the front. So again, just because this is a formal hearing, I would just ask, is there anything else that you'd like to add to the narrative I just provided, or any other information you'd like to provide to Borough Council?
No, I think you summarized everything fine.
Okay, so with that, are there any questions from any members of Borough Council?
Doesn't sound like it.
All right, and then the final item for the hearing is just whether there's any public comment in the audience, either in favor of or against either the adoption of the ordinance or the actual petition to vacate. Okay, just note for the record that nobody has stepped forward for public comment. So with that, the record's closed. If Borough Council is so inclined, it may grant the petition to vacate by a motion to enact the ordinance entitled An Ordinance Pursuant to Section 1731A2 of the Pennsylvania Borough Code, vacating a portion of McFarland Lane.
I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by
Ms. Popkin.
Ms. Popkin, okay. Any other questions or comments from council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none. I'd like to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks very much. So next we have,
Good to go?
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, please.
That's okay. I just wanted to thank the borough on behalf of everyone. It's just been a great process that we've been through. I think we have a good project moving forward, and I really appreciate your cooperation as we get through this. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, sorry, getting into my next one. Next, we have an application for minor subdivision approval for 275, 279 North Main Street. 263 North Main Street LLC, the owner of the above referenced property, proposes a lot line change between the two parcels located in the freestanding commercial zoning district. The parcels each contain a single-family semi-detached dwelling unit, use to, and an irregularly shaped backyard. The proposed lot line change will move the shared property line to better align with the party wall and enable a future addition to the building at 275 North Main Street. The application was reviewed by the Zoning and Planning Committee on June 9th, 2025, and the committee recommended approval with the following conditions. One, that the applicant resolve all outstanding issues with the borough engineers and borough water engineers review letters to the satisfaction of staff. Two, that the project comply with all applicable regulations, including local, state, and federal. And in considerations, the committee recommends the following waivers be granted. One, to maintain the existing 31.3-foot cartway when a 36-foot minimum cartway is required. Two, to allow the use of iron pins within the right-of-way. Three, to defer any required stormwater management until such a time that a building permit application is submitted. Four, to allow a plan scale of 1 inch to 10 feet. 5, to allow a plan sheet size of 24 by 36 inches. 6, to not provide existing features within 400 feet of the land to be subdivided. If council is in agreement with the committee, it may grant approval by carrying a motion to do so, and I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we have the zoning hearing board report. The Doylestown Borough Zoning Hearing Board will hold a public meeting Thursday, June 19th, 2025, to hear the following for 172 East Oakland Avenue in the Central Residential Zoning District of the Borough by Anthony and Lori Kresha, who request a variance from the section 524.2 in the Doylestown Borough Zoning Ordinance to permit more than the permitted floor area ratio. The applicants propose to finish an attic space to be used as a personal office. Is there anything you need to add, Ms. Hyland, to that?
I do not, no.
And there isn't any action we need to take on that, correct?
Correct.
Additionally, we have the HARB recommendations. At the regular monthly meeting of the Doylestown Historic and Architectural Review Board, HARB, recommended the following. There were no sign applications, but for building applications, 30 East State Street for a railing, the HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be accepted as submitted and presented. 239 East Ashland Street for an addition, renovation, and reconstruction. The HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be accepted as resubmitted to the following with the following changes. 1, the front door color will be iron ore. The cupola will be removed from the plans. The wall on the southwest elevation will be stepped back approximately 8 inches. The dormer location will be adjusted to accommodate that step back. Alter the windows on the southwest elevation from 18 inches to 2.5 feet in an Oscar Martin style. Last, we have 80 West State Street for windows. The HARB recommended that the application for a certificate of appropriateness be accepted as resubmitted with the understanding that the windows might be Anderson due to the availability of materials. The Zoning and Planning Committee recommends that the council approve the applications in accordance with HARB's recommendation, and if the council is in agreement, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Popkin. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Additionally, the code enforcement and building inspection reports are in the packet, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Jarrett. Ms. Wyckoff, Environment and Rec. You have anything?
Yes, we have one item, please. The naming of Burpee Park Basketball Court. At their June meetings, the Park and Recreation Board and Council's Environment and Recreation Committee heard a proposal to upgrade the basketball court at Burpee Park through private donations. The plan calls for new surfacing, backboards, rims, and nets. Among the donors are the Doylestown Athletic Association and borough residents Jim Plummer and Kurt Goldman. The new court would be named Van Hoof Court, honoring the life of Coach Jason Van Hoof, and designated as such with a borough plaque. The Park and Recreation Board and the Environment and Recreation Committee are recommending that council approve the proposed upgrade and the naming of Van Hoof Court. If council wishes to follow the recommendation, it can do so by motion, and I so move.
We have a second by Ms. Okay. Excuse me. Any questions or comments from any members of council?
I believe we do have a representative from the folks in the audience.
Oh,
Rename.
would they like to speak?
Is anyone here for the Van Hoof Court issue? Oh, I guess not.
Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Wyckoff. Mr. Lavrone, Water Utility. First tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just 3 information items. The Water Utility Committee did not meet this month, but the information items are that I reviewed the operations report from our Water Director, Jeremy Matoso, and everything seems to be in order, nothing out of the ordinary. The good news is, number 2 item is good news. We're out of the official drought designation, so we lifted the restrictions on water usage. And of course, now we're getting all this rain, but that's still a good thing. And then number 3, the Water Committee will meet in July, on July 8th. And I believe our water engineers to give us a report on the upcoming PFAS treatment project that we have coming up. Is that still on, John? Do you know?
It is indeed.
Okay, very good.
A very nice pre-bid meeting down at the site and
Okay.
very good attendance.
Good, thank you. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lavrone. Ms. Popkin, Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance and Pension Committee did not meet this month. In your packet is the finance report for this month, and I'll turn that over to Ms. Brinker.
Thank you, Ms. Popkin. Everyone was provided with a copy of the finance report and also the payables for this month. The total of all payables and payroll was $947,112.42.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hanlon, I think it was, yeah. I'm getting better at recognizing voices. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's the end of the finance report.
Thank you, Ms. Popkin. Personnel, Park and Rec Board member Matt Reese, whose term was to expire December 31st of 2026, has resigned. Mr. Reese's resignation creates a vacancy which needs to be filled. If Council wishes to authorize the advertisement of the vacancy, it may do so by motion, and I so move.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Lavrone. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And that's the end of the personnel report. Professionals report. Mr. Doherty, do you have anything for us?
Thank you. I have nothing to report tonight.
Andrew, you have anything for us?
No report this evening, thank you.
Chief, do you have anything for us tonight?
No report this evening.
Thank you. I do not have a president's report tonight. Under items of old business, we have the Mercy Museum elevator contract. John, can you?
Yeah, I can walk you through this. Last year, council passed resolution 2023-9, and that authorized the submission of what's called a statewide local share assessment grant application. It was on behalf of the Bucks County Historical Society for the modernization of the Mercer Museum's elevator. And the authorization came at a maximum cost of $409,026. This is a grant program that is for nonprofit, non-governmental organizations, but for some reason it requires a municipality to submit the application on the applicant's behalf. The grant was awarded, and BCHS has been moving forward with the project, including the bid process. They've received a proposal, which is attached in your packet, from Kencor LLC in the amount of $371,000 plus freight. Kencor LLC is a CoStarz vendor, meaning they've already been bid by the Commonwealth, and no local bid process is necessary in order to award the contract. The solicitors reviewed the proposal, the bid and the contract, and is fine with it, but it remains with council because of the odd arrangement we have to make a motion to accept the proposal on behalf of the Historical Society in the amount of $371,000 plus freight in order for the society to move forward with the project. So we would need a motion and a second in that regard.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown, I think it was. Any questions or comments from any members of council?
I just note that representatives from the Bucks County Historical Society are present. If anyone has any questions, it's been an interesting process so far from an administrative standpoint.
And I'd like to thank the council for partnering with us on this project.
That's appreciated. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from any members of the public? Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think we have one item of new business, John.
Yeah, I did. I apologize for the lateness of the hour, but we did add an item of new business. And this regards a request for alcoholic beverage provision from the Doylestown Arts Festival. They are, for the first time, requesting council's authorization to sell alcoholic beverages at the 2025 festival. The venue specifically will be the Pine Street parking lot. And of course, that event is on September 6th and 7th. Borough Ordinance 1979-7 permits the consumption of alcoholic beverages on public property when specifically authorized by Borough Council. Pine Street parking lot, as you know, is indeed public property. The Arts Festival has assumed responsibility for coordinating with the vendor, which is the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company, making sure they get the necessary permissions, which they have, a copy of which is attached in your packet from PLCB. The vendor will be responsible for managing the ID process, and the area will be signed and fenced in order to keep the alcoholic beverages within the boundaries of the event. Central Bucks Regional Police, I know, has reviewed this and has no objection, as I understand it. And the borough staff is supportive of this as well. So that what remains is for Borough Council, potentially, if they agree with the proposal, to make a motion to permit the consumption of alcoholic beverages on public property on September 6th and 7th in the Pine Street parking lot to the Doylestown Arts Festival.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Second by Mr. O'Hanlon.
The two Irishmen,
What else would
we
you
didn't
expect?
notice.
You were reading it.
That's true.
The third, yeah.
We're all in this together,
It's a
guys.
trifecta. Any questions or comments from any members of council? Hearing none, any questions or comments from any members of the public?
Chris Boger is here from Arts Festival.
Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I believe that concludes. We have
We do have a,
open public comment. Did anybody sign up?
we do. We have a Mr. Jeff McGeary from Doylestown Borough who's here to talk about South Main Street.
I was actually going to be the third Irishman to vote.
I like him already.
All right. Well, hey, Jeff McGeary, live in Doylestown Township, but an issue in the borough. We live 1 block from the borough, so it impacts the area I'm going to talk about. So we've been living here 2 years, my family and I, so thank you for everything the borough does to make this such an awesome community. Really, really enjoying life here and living and raising a family. So 2 issues. Number 1, so we live in the Doylestown Hunt development, right on Steeplechase. So we're right there at South Main Street in the front end of the development. So the first issue is the Wawa, which I believe is the borough?
Yes.
It is.
Okay. So just a request, perhaps to the police chief, Friday night, Saturday nights, I mean, if you're looking for a party, that's the place to go. So perhaps a patrol car or something could be there. There's a lot of cars just making sure their engines work properly, revving their engines really rather obnoxiously at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. If possible, to have a police presence there, maybe a little bit more so. I'm sure there is, but proactively would be great. Would be great. Maybe any night of the week, but particularly on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. They're pretty assertive in their driving, so it would be great. Any question or comment on that? Just
Chief's already taken notes.
he's on it? Okay.
Writing it
Thank
down.
you, Colonel. Okay. The second thing is the Heritage Point Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center right on 400 South Main Street in the borough. I don't know, zoning and parking and size of business and customer and employee ratio and all of that, but our street right at Steeplechase and South Main Street, yes, a public street, but is there overflow parking? We're constantly having cars parking in front of the houses there, house 1, 2, 3, on both sides. We have people park in front of our mailbox, block the mailbox. We've called the police once or twice when someone just was really right up on the mailbox. Not illegal, maybe not in the best taste to do that. I don't know if something can be done to take a look at that business, perhaps to look at, is there an appropriate ratio of parking on their business grounds for the volume of people that go in there and employees? I mean, every day we have people parked on our street that are walking right around to that business. They don't park in the apartments. They don't park at the bank. They don't park anywhere else. They park on our street. I have noticed, because we were in the township at the concert last Wednesday, Doylestown Lee, I believe it is over there. But some neighborhoods I've noticed, for example, that neighborhood, when you drive in, just the initial drive-in, they have no parking signs right there. Now, I know that is the township. Steeplechase is the township. So maybe I'll address it with them as well. But, right when you drive into a neighborhood, it really shouldn't be that volume of overflow parking because it's always there. So I don't know if anything can be done. I guess the request bottom line is with that business, maybe there could be a communication with them to look at parking and number of parking lots and volume of employees, patients, all of that to make sure it's appropriate to help mitigate this issue that we're dealing with.
Yeah, just a couple things. Obviously, parking restrictions would be in the bailiwick of Doylestown Township. We can't do anything on Steeplechase itself.
Yeah, the business itself. If
Business itself, I mean, they are a going concern, and however their parking is functioning, they are okay zoning-wise. There's nothing we can do to go back and revisit that. I'm not sure what's changed in there over the years, since it's obviously been there for quite a while. We'll go down and take a look and see exactly what's happening down there, whether there's been some changes in their operations, whether they're doing something with their parking lot that's suddenly displacing their own employees, which is what sounds like it's happening, sounds like employees.
I think it's more employees. Sometimes, I mean, there have been a few, I don't mean to sound kind of unsavory, individuals I've seen, kind of walk in there, and my wife, another female across the street, is, people smoking there, hanging out right there, and they claim they're going over to the rehab center. I have give them the courtesy. I did call them maybe 2 or 3 months ago, spoke to someone, I don't have a name, that was in management, and I said, hey, maybe you could put out a notice or something to your employees. They said they would do that. It didn't appear to help solve the issue. So it's just a public comment.
We're in communication with them for various things. We know who they are, so we'll see what's going on down there. Maybe has it been going on all along, or has something just changed recently?
Since, for the last year or two, since we moved in, I mean, we've noticed it, so.
For your understanding, you think it's probably employees? I don't know, they don't do like outpatient stuff there, do they?
I think it seems to be, we'll notice cars parked there that are there the whole day.
Okay.
And one or two I've spoken to, they'll park and waiting for an employee to pick up. So I think it probably is mostly
Mostly related
employees.
to that.
So that would lead me to think, I mean, are they providing adequate parking has the number of employees gone up or down? Is parking able to support that, and considering patients? So,
Are there any particular days or times where it's worse or better?
Monday to Friday.
Just Monday through Friday mostly, and I imagine
Well, I
daytime.
shouldn't misspeak, probably when I notice it.
Yeah. Okay, great, thanks.
Not an uncommon problem with nursing homes in town.
Yeah.
We've had similar problems elsewhere. Not problems, but they have a lot of staff.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a look.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Have you approached the township on either one of these issues yet?
No, they have a meeting tomorrow night that I'm going to go to as well.
Because certainly the Steeplechase Drive parking is the township, but also, the Wawa being right on the border, that's, the regional police force potential involvement. Also, Doylestown Township has their own police force. And I wanted to ask the chief, have you heard anything else from anybody from anybody else on the Wawa issue that he's raising?
Yes, so the Wawa continues to be very active for us with retail thefts, with drunks at the end of the night, with homeless. People seem to congregate there. So we are in and out of there quite frequently, but I will put out a message to try to get a little more visibility down there for you.
Thank you. The other issue, which I learned the other side of the street by the Hart property, is the township, but a lot of large tractor trailers, trucks, business trucks will pull there, leave the trucks rumbling unattended, and go into Wawa. And that's always going on. So I brought that up to the township too. And they mentioned, for whatever reason, they couldn't address it. I think because there's something with the 202 and who owns that, and 611. So just making parties aware. So any attention to that would be great.
I think one of my points that I wanted to make on that is if what's happening at the Wawa, which is in the borough, is affecting township residents, shouldn't that be a Doylestown Township police concern as well?
I mean, I will certainly pass it on to Chief Ziegler down there. I mean, any enforcement activity is squarely on us.
I understand.
It's clearly in the borough. We do the best we can to get down there with all the other things going on a weekend in town. But thank you for bringing it to our attention.
And the 202-611 thing, it's their state roads.
Yes.
So so it's PennDOT. So it probably wouldn't, not to pass the buck at all, but it might not hurt to reach out to the state rep and state senator, so Steve Santasiero and Tim Brennan, and they might be able to advocate the issue with PennDOT more directly than we were able to.
Thank you, Chief, for explaining that.
Yeah, no
and
problem.
Thank you, Mr. McGarry, for bringing that to our attention.
How could I follow up just on the nursing home or the rehabilitation center? Tom, just to see what you find. I'd be curious what feedback you.
You can send me an
Name and
email. You can send me Karen Highland. You can find my email address on the website and just shoot me an email.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
think that was the only one that signed up.
That was it.
Okay. We do not have any executive session tonight, correct, John?
There was no executive session.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
To confuse them?